Millions of Brazilians erupted in celebration as Ronaldo Nazario raised the 2002 FIFA World Cup trophy high above his head. After years of waiting, Brazil had reclaimed its place at the top of world football. Ronaldo finished the tournament as its top scorer, smiling as cameras captured one of the most iconic moments in football history. Yet only a few years earlier, that image seemed impossible. The striker once feared by every defender in the world had been brought to his knees by devastating injuries. Doctors questioned whether his body could ever handle elite football again. Critics believed his explosive career was over. Even many supporters wondered if they had already seen the best of Ronaldo. So how did a player written off by injuries, doubted by the football world, and forced to rebuild his career from the ground up return to become a World Cup hero once again? To understand one of the greatest redemption stories in the history of sport, we have to go back to the moment when everything began to fall apart. The celebration that would one day inspire millions was still far away. Long before the World Cup glory, before the injuries, and before the doubts, there was a young boy in Rio de Janeiro whose life revolved around a football. Growing up in the working-class neighborhood of Bento Ribeiro, Ronaldo Nazario discovered the game on the streets, where every match was more than just fun. It was a chance to dream of something bigger. Football offered an escape from everyday struggles, and it didn't take long for people around him to notice that this wasn't ordinary talent. His speed, balance, and instinct in front of goal made him stand out almost immediately. Coaches saw a player who could do things others simply couldn't. His breakthrough came with Cruzeiro, where he scored goals at an astonishing rate despite being just a teenager. In 1994, he helped the club win the Copa do Brasil, and Europe's biggest clubs quickly took notice. PSV Eindhoven signed him, and Ronaldo adapted almost instantly, scoring 54 league goals in just 57 matches. Barcelona followed, where he produced one of the greatest individual seasons football had ever witnessed. His unforgettable solo goal against Compostela became proof that he wasn't just scoring, he was redefining what a striker could be. The move to Inter Milan only strengthened that reputation. Serie A was considered the toughest league in the world, filled with elite defenders, yet Ronaldo continued to amaze fans with explosive acceleration, dazzling dribbles, and clinical finishing. In 1997, he won the Ballon d'Or at just 21 years old, becoming one of the youngest winners in history. Across Brazil, hope continued to grow. A new golden generation was taking shape, and Ronaldo stood at its center. Many believed he wasn't simply the best striker of his era. They believed he was destined to become the greatest footballer in the world. Everything seemed to be unfolding exactly as planned. Just when Ronaldo seemed destined to dominate football for the next decade, everything changed in a matter of moments. In November 1999, while playing for Inter Milan, Ronaldo suffered a serious knee injury that damaged the tendons around his right kneecap. It was the first major injury of his career, forcing him to undergo surgery and spend months away from the game. Even then, there was optimism. Fans believed the world's best striker would recover quickly. After all, Ronaldo had overcome every challenge football had placed in front of him. The reality was far more cruel. On April 12, 2000, after nearly 5 months of rehabilitation, Ronaldo finally returned during the Coppa Italia final against Lazio. The San Siro erupted as he stepped onto the pitch. It felt like the beginning of another glorious chapter. Yet only a few minutes later, disaster struck. As Ronaldo attempted one of his trademark attacking runs, his right knee suddenly gave way. He collapsed to the ground in agony, clutching his leg as players from both teams immediately called for medical help. The stadium fell silent. Television cameras captured teammates with their heads in their hands, while millions watching around the world witnessed one of football's most heartbreaking moments. Doctors later confirmed he had completely ruptured the patellar tendon in his knee, one of the most devastating injuries an athlete can suffer. The consequences were immediate. Another major surgery followed, along with months that turned into more than a year of painful rehabilitation. Every training session became a battle. Every small improvement came with uncertainty. Ronaldo wasn't preparing for trophies anymore. He was fighting simply to play football again. Meanwhile, football refused to stand still. New stars emerged, competitions moved on, and conversations that once celebrated Ronaldo's brilliance slowly turned into questions about whether his career was already over. Some experts doubted he would ever recover the explosive pace that had made him unstoppable. Others feared he might never return to elite football at all. For the first time in his life, Ronaldo wasn't chasing greatness. He was fighting to prove he still belonged. And the hardest hardest part of that journey was only just beginning. The football world moved forward. Ronaldo found himself trapped in a battle that very few people could truly understand. The crowds were gone, the stadium lights had faded, and the only opponent left was his own body. Rehabilitation became his new daily routine. Hours were spent in the gym, in the swimming pool, and with physiotherapists repeating the same painful movements over and over again. After such a catastrophic knee injury, the challenge wasn't just rebuilding strength, it was learning to trust his body once more. Every sprint, every change of direction, and every strike of the ball came with uncertainty. One wrong step could undo months of progress. The physical pain was only part of the struggle. Outside the training room, the pressure continued to grow. Newspapers questioned whether the Ronaldo the world once feared still existed. Television pundits wondered if he had permanently lost the explosive pace and acceleration that had made him almost impossible to defend. For many supporters, the question was no longer when he would return, it was whether he should return at all. That alone would have broken many careers. Instead of giving up, Ronaldo refused to stop working. Progress came slowly. A stronger training session, a sharper movement, a few extra minutes on the pitch. Each small victory became another step toward an unlikely comeback. There were setbacks along the way, moments when frustration threatened to take over, yet he kept moving forward because he believed his story was not finished. Few people realized what this would lead to. As the 2002 FIFA World Cup drew closer, Brazil faced a difficult decision. Ronaldo had only recently returned to competitive football with Inter Milan, and although flashes of his brilliance were beginning to reappear, he was far from the unstoppable force he had once been. In the end, Brazil made its choice. Now Ronaldo had one final chance to silence every doubt on football's biggest stage. When Brazil announced its squad for the 2002 FIFA World Cup, one name dominated headlines around the world: Ronaldo. For some, his selection was a bold act of faith. For others, it was an unnecessary gamble. After everything he had endured, no one truly knew whether he could still deliver on football's biggest stage. Brazil arrived in South Korea and Japan, carrying enormous expectations, even though their road to the tournament had been unusually difficult. During qualification, they had suffered disappointing defeats and even changed coaches before Luis Felipe Scolari guided them to the World Cup. Despite boasting incredible talent, many questioned whether this team could live up to Brazil's rich football history. The spotlight quickly fell on Brazil's attacking trio: Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and the young Ronaldinho. Together, they promised creativity, flair, and goals. Yet every match also became another test of Ronaldo's recovery. Every sprint, every tackle, and every celebration answered another question that had followed him for nearly 3 years. What happened next surprised almost everyone. Ronaldo scored in Brazil's opening match against Turkey, instantly easing some of the doubts. He followed with goals against China and Costa Rica, finishing the group stage looking sharper with every appearance. The player who once seemed afraid to trust his own body was beginning to move with freedom again. His confidence grew, and so did the belief inside the Brazilian camp. The knockout rounds brought even greater pressure. Brazil defeated Belgium in the round of 16 before overcoming England in a dramatic quarterfinal where Ronaldinho's famous long-range free kick helped secure a 2-1 victory. In the semifinal against Turkey, Ronaldo's clever movement created space for Rivaldo before he scored the decisive goal that sent Brazil into the final. Now, only one obstacle remained. Waiting on the other side was Germany, led by Oliver Kahn, the tournament's outstanding goalkeeper. For Ronaldo, this wasn't just another match. It was the ultimate test of whether his remarkable comeback would end in heartbreak or become one of football's greatest redemption stories. On June 30th, 2002, the International Stadium in Yokohama became the stage for a story that had been years in the making. Brazil and Germany, the two most successful nations in World Cup history, stood just 90 minutes away from lifting football's greatest prize. Yet beneath the battle for the trophy was another contest that captivated the world: Ronaldo against Oliver Kahn. Kahn had been the tournament's outstanding player. The German captain had conceded only 1 goal in 6 matches, producing save after save to carry his team to the final. Many believed he would be the man standing between Brazil and a 5th World Cup title. For Ronaldo, facing the world's best goalkeeper was the final obstacle in a journey that had nearly ended in a hospital room instead of a football stadium. The match unfolded exactly as expected. Germany defended with discipline, while Brazil searched patiently for an opening. Every missed chance chance increased the tension. Every passing minute raised the pressure on both sides. Then everything changed. In the 67th minute, Rivaldo struck a powerful shot from outside the penalty area. It was the kind of effort Oliver Kahn had stopped throughout the tournament. This time, however, he spilled the ball in front of him. Ronaldo reacted faster than anyone else. In a split second, he reached the rebound and calmly fired it into the net. It was his 8th goal of the tournament. Germany suddenly had to chase the game, creating more space for Brazil's attack. Just 12 minutes later, Ronaldo found himself in another dangerous position. Rivaldo cleverly allowed the ball to run